Yes, sir. Sure did. That's the ancestors right there, dear. Sure did. It's the 441 Martians. Peace, love, and all that goodness. Spirit Crow Call, how we living? I just sat down in the back and the bugs already messing with me, man. This is just crazy. Man, what? These black mirror bugs ain't no joke, bruh. Yeah, we're gonna do this entire chapter first so that we can get into it. Look, man, send this to a friend, tell a friend, and tell a friend that we live because it's 11:11 again, and we gonna win every time. If you think like you're gonna win, you're always gonna win. But if you think like something can go wrong, you're gonna be a little fidgety, a little nervous. Your avatar is not gonna be able to perform. So you always want to train your subconscious to be a winner, because if not, you're gonna be subject to anything that is left out in the ethers, like trash, you know what I mean? So today, I want us to start on this. I want us to start on the subtle body. It's an encyclopedia of your energetic anatomy, and this is by Cindy Dale. It's an international bestseller, a very necessary book to have if you're on a healing journey. You hear me? Healing journey, get this book, y'all. Because right now we're just going to identify a few things, go through a few systems each day. And today is the first day we start on this book. We're going to deal with aura awareness, you feel me? And the aura awareness is going to help us understand the conjunction that we arrive at when we're in the etheric realm. Check this out, y'all, before we get started. Right before I sat down, I found these. What are these? I found old bird feathers. But these are dove feathers. And doves represent a, not an international, I want to say international, but a love frequency that is very, very high in nature. So today's energy is love energy. I found a whole bunch of them. They must have been plucking them off, or, you know, birds have to renew their feathers just like we cut our fingernails off. It's made from the same material. So we'll find somewhere nice to put these, you know what I mean? Dove feathers, y'all. I found these right before I sat down, right in front of my space. But anyway, aura awareness. I'm going to get into one of these chapters, and I kind of want to just read the entire thing. I'll show you all the pictures as I go through it. But this one is human energy fields. So we're going to tap into the human energy fields, because the fields of awareness are not just our five senses. It's important that we understand that the energetic fields, they connect to a deeper spiritual sense, because there's a lot of spirits that's running around here in the unseen, and the unseen is etheric, untapped potential. And if you are not tuned into the frequency, you will not receive it. Do you follow what I'm saying? So let's get into some of this. Y'all be patient with me and listen to what we got to say, because I just want to read some of this and help us all understand what the human energy field is representative of. So there are many human energy fields. These include the physically measurable electromagnetic and magnetic fields generated by all living cells, tissues, and organs, and the body as well. But there are also biofields, subtle and putative fields emanating from these pulsing units of life, as well as our subtle energy bodies, channels, and aspects of self. Here are brief descriptions of the most important human biofields. So y'all hear what we're saying? We're about to get into the most important one. So this first one is morphogenetic field. In biology, a morphogenetic field is a group of cells that leads to specific body structures or organs. For example, a cardiac field becomes heart tissue. Scientist Rupert Sheldrake in the early 1980s was the first to label a learning field that instructs the scientifically recognized one, calling them the energetic or subtle morphogenetic or morphic field. Sheldrake suggested that there is a field within and around a morphic unit, a physical developmental unit of what later becomes a tissue or organ that forms it. All living organisms, from cells to people, that belong to a certain group tune into the morphic field and through morphic resonance develop according to the programs within that field. So you're affected by that field. Resonance only occurs between forms that are similar. That's important. Resonance only occurs between forms that are similar. So a monkey would not take on the characteristics of a plant. It's important. According to Sheldrake, these fields serve as database as well as mental forms. So you can kind of think as a morphic field, a way that each animal or each creature relates telepathically to the other. Sheldrake's theory seeks to explain why members of a family pass down certain behaviors and even emotions, and why species might share common characteristic and developmental patterns. Various studies have also shown that even when separate members of certain species acquire several traits or behaviors, when a puzzle that can be explained by morphogenetic fields, subtle in nature, they are not limited to time or space. This theory will portray DNA as the recipient of information from morphic fields, which instructs it to act in certain ways. Grandpa's musical gifts might be then carried on to grandsons via morphic fields rather than DNA. Morphogenetics fields may instruct the epigenetic makeup, the chemical storage houses described in Epigenetics Beyond DNA on page 43. Sheldrake's philosophy also holds that past life memories could pass from lifetime to lifetime through a soul's morphic field. These memories would be non-local in nature and therefore not anchored in the brain or a particular field. So boom, that sounds heavy, right? So the morphogenetic field, right? So that basically kind of exemplifies how and why we can time travel into lifetimes, and we will still have the same awareness or the same energetic signature throughout each lifetime, because we reside or relate, in a better word, we relate through that morphogenetic field, and that frequency of etheric information is what is going to surround you, and you're going to be able to send that off to a family member telepathically if they reside in that same morphogenetic field. So in essence, you must represent yourself in a particular frequency as well, right? So there's a particular frequency. It has to be a particular frequency in order to pierce the morphogenetic field. We're going to get into that next. So the etheric field. So the word etheric is often used as a substitute for the term subtle or aura. There are actually independent etheric fields around every vibrating unit of life, from a cell to a plant to a person, as well as a specific etheric field that is connected to the body and described under special fields below. The term etheric is derivative from the word ether, important y'all, which has been considered a medium that permeates space, transmitting transverse waves of energy. Let's read that again, y'all. Y'all hear me? The term etheric is a derivative from the word ether. Now, what is ether? Which has been considered a medium, which means a networking conduit, ability to send information back and forth that permeates space, which basically it holds the space that we are looking through. It's the unseen. So you may see a tree in front of your face, but between you and that tree, there's an etheric plane and an etheric field that gathers a permeating resonance. You follow what I'm saying? And this transmitting transverse waves of energy. So the ability for waves of energy to flow through this etheric realm is very possible and important to our connection to the nature unseen. When associated with the entirety of the auric field, it sounds the whole body as a separate energy body, which is a more sustainable and popular view. The etheric body links the physical body with other subtle and popular view. The etheric body links the physical body with other subtle bodies, serving as a matrix for physical growth. You follow what I'm saying? So basically this etheric realm, the unseen realm, is here for you to quantify your existence, and you're going to elevate each time that you integrate the etheric energy. Excuse me. Where we at? As Barbara Brennan, a contemporary expert on the aura, suggests, it therefore exists before the cell grows. Lawrence and Phoebe Bendit say the same of the auric field, asserting that it permeates every particle of the body and acts as a matrix for it. Dr. Kim Bohan, whose research is outlined in the ductal theory on page 174, links the etheric body and the meridians, suggesting that the meridians are interface between the etheric and the physical body. The etheric body creates the meridian, which in turn form the physical body. So what does that say? Let's read that again. Dr. Kim Bohan, whose research is outlined in ductal theory on page 174, we may get to that and check it out, links the etheric body and the meridians, suggesting that the meridians are an interface between the etheric and the physical body. The etheric body creates the meridian, which in turn forms the physical body. So it's very important that there's links, basically a bridge of connection from the physical to the unseen. And that will be your Merkaba, if you will. Do some research on your Merkaba, because that is connected to your P now. And within is the travel, how do you say it? Is the travel vehicle for you to get through that meridian and connect to the etheric realm. Follow what I'm saying? So the special fields, this is the next section. There are many different biofields that regulate various mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical functions. The following list of biofields is based on the work of Barbara and Brennan and others. So the physical field is the lowest in frequency, regulates the human body. Then you have the etheric field, the blueprint for the physical structure that it surrounds. There is also an etheric field for the soul. And then, well, you have a few more. You have an emotional field, regulates the emotional state of the organism, which is very important for you to clear often. Use your Virgo and Pisces axis to do that. Mental field processes, ideas, thoughts, and beliefs. And that's a part of your Gemini and Sagittarius axis. So these all represent on specific astrology axes, and it helps you understand the value of these fields. So there's an astral field, a nexus between the physical and spiritual realms, free of time and space. Etheric template exists only on the spiritual plane and holds the highest ideals for existence. So you have the celestial field, accesses universal energies and serves as a template for the etheric field. In the causal field, causal body, directs lower levels of existence. So that's a lot of fields for your body to experience. So let's see if I can find that picture. Yeah, you're looking at this type of energy around your body. You follow what I'm saying? So each one of those have a energetic frequency that magnetizes your aura and your aura is what attracts the unseen. So like it was saying, the etheric body is what shapes the physical body. So if you work within the etheric body or the etheric or the spiritual space, you're able to formulate your own reality. You follow what I'm saying, family? This is very important information for us to keep up with. So if y'all got questions, y'all stop me, slow me down, ask me in the comments, and we'll backtrack and see what we can quantify as far as some answers. But we're going to keep going. We're going to talk about the aura, because that's basically what you was looking at, the aura. So scientists have been investigating and substantiating the existence of the aura, the field that surrounds our entire body, for over 100 years, adding to the knowledge our ancestors already possessed. This field consists of multiple bands of energy called auric layers and auric fields that encompass the body, connecting us to the outside world. The aura has been known by many names in many cultures. The Kabbalistic called it an astral light. Christian artists depict Jesus and other figures as surrounded by Corona's light. The Vedic scriptures and teachings of the Rosicrucians, Tibetan and Indian Buddhists, and many Native American tribes describe the field in detail. Even Pythagoras discussed the field, which was perceived as a luminous body. In fact, John White and Stanley Krippner, authors, a future scientist, list 97 different cultures that reference the human aura, each culture calling it by different names. So let's stop right there. You hear the aura, and they may be called something different because when you look at Jesus, he has that sun, that corona sunlight shining around his head. And that's actually the sun, which is really what he represents. But it also is a representation of the auric field that surrounds Jesus Christ. So they say they have 97 different culture references that explain the aura with a different name. So that is to say that this energetic resonance that is surrounding our body in great detail is very, very much active in the creation of our future and our life. Science has been actively involved in penetrating the mystery of the aura since the early 1800s. During that time period, Belgian mystic and physician Jan Baptist van Helmont visualized it as a universal fluid that permeates everything. The idea of the aura acting like a fluid or flowing as well as being permeable has remained consistent throughout history. Franz Mesmer, for whom the term mesmerism was coined, suggested that both animate and inanimate objects were charged with fluid, which he perceived as magnetic, through which material bodies could exert influence over each other, even at a distance. That means telepathic connections are very real, family. You don't got to be near a person to speak to them. Baron Wilhelm von Richthofen discovered several properties unique to this field, which he called the odic force. He determined that it shared similar properties to the electromagnetic field, which had previously been investigated by James Clerk Maxwell, one of the fathers of electricity. The odic field was composed of polarities or opposites, as is the electromagnetic field. In electromagnetism, however, opposites attract. Not so in the odic field, where like attracts like. Richthofen also found that the field relates to different colors and that it could not only carry a charge but also flow around objects. He described the field on the left side of the body as a negative pole and the right side as a positive pole. similar to the ideas of Chinese medicine. These and other theories are revealed the aura to have a fluid or flowing state to be comprised of different colors. Therefore, frequencies. Who wants to join me? No, you ain't joining. Therefore, other frequencies. Hold up, y'all. I lost my spot. These and other theories have revealed the aura to have a fluid or flowing state to be comprised of different colors. Therefore, frequencies to be permeable and penetratable, to be magnetic in nature, although it also has electromagnetic properties. Other research has underscored these theories and expanded one additional element of the auric field, its connection to the inner sanctum of the human being. For example, in 1911, Dr. Walter Kilner examined the aura with colored filters and special kind of coal tar. He discovered 3 zones: a dark layer next to the skin, the more etheric layer flowing at a perpendicular angle in the body, and a delicate exterior which contours about 6 inches across. Most important, the conditions of this aura, as he calls it, shifted in reaction to a subject state of mind and health. So what is that saying? All that fancy shit is saying that the way that you relate to the day-to-day energy and the moment-to-moment opportunities, it changes the permeating resonance around your body. Then, hold up, I want to make sure I got all of this. In the early 1900s, Dr. Wilhelm Reich furthered our knowledge of the human field and its qualities through experiments studying a universal energy that he named orgone. Well, that sounds familiar, huh? During his studies, he observed energy pulsing in the sky and surrounding all animate and inanimate objects and beings. Many metaphysical believe that orgone is equivalent to chi or prana. He also noticed that areas of congestion could be cleared to release negative mental and emotional patterns and thus affect change. This emphasized the connections between the subtle and the physical energies as well as emotional and mental energies. Sounds like chaos energy is important to use. Then in the 1930s, Dr. Lawrence Benedict and Phoebe Benedict observed the human energy field and linked it to soul development, showing that the subtle forces are the foundation of health. Their observations are mirrored and expanded by those of Dr. Dora Kunz and Theo Fissett, an intuitive, who saw that every organ has its own field and does the overall body, which pulses with its own rhythm when healthy. When someone is ill, this rhythm alters and problems can be intuitively seen in the field. So let's tap in. So that explains basically why you even have body parts that are called organs, right? Because these body parts, they have a particular rhythm that calibrates your energy, your inner chi, your prana. It activates it when you're able to breathe in etheric resonance. It activates these organs into a specific rhythm. Each one of them have their own rhythm, and they all represent a specific connection to a specific part of the body, specific part of the mindset, and a specific metaphysical way to transmute energy. Follow what I'm saying? So your throat chakra in metaphysics is used to swallow food. So you swallow that food and it builds your energy. So that is metaphysically in alignment with the way that you receive information. You receive information through the pineal, which goes down this throat, which is just your kundalini highway. But the information that you're able to calibrate with, you're able to voice it back out in a hierophant energy. That's temperance, hierophant energy. There's a balance to that. Temperance can connect to all and is able to know all, but someone has to speak it. So the Hierophant is here to speak it. And that's how you metaphysically qualify each organ and figure out how to balance a certain chakra or to notify a particular energy. When Dr. Xing Rongliang of Lanzhou University in China measured the flow of qi from a human body with a unique biological detector, he showed that not only does the aura pulse, but that not everyone's field pulses at the same rate or intensity. This study was repeated by researchers at the Shanghai Atomic Nuclear Institute of Academia Sinica. Soviet scientists from Bioinformation Institute, headed by A.S. Popov, actually measured the human field, or more specifically, the biocurrents manifested in the surrounding energy body. They discovered that living organisms emanate vibrations at a frequency between 300 and 200 nanometers. They called this field the biofield, and discovered that people with a strong and widespread biofield can transfer energy more successfully. This research was confirmed by Medical Science Academy in Moscow. So let's read that little part again. They called this field the biofield and discovered that people with a strong and widespread biofield can transfer energy more successfully. So for an example, I'm an electrician by trade. I did electrical work for 13 years. And what I learned is the more space you have to send electricity, the more bandwidth your building or your section has to quantify light, which means bring in some fucking light. You can see everything a lot clearer. So if you, on an energetic frequency, clear your chakras, clear your aura, clear your resonance, don't jam your mouth with a bunch of food and junk, because then that'll be wasteful energy, and that wasteful energy will not allow your throat to speak the truth. So you're not temperance and Hierophant energy anymore. So this is real important when you're eating in the AM, you're eating particular things or drinking particular things. You want to be aware of what it is that you're putting in your body, because it produces a particular response, and the response is going to affect your ability to span and expand through the energy. You feel me? A special form of photography is actually able to take pictures of the auric field. In the 1930s, Russian scientists, this is old, y'all, Simon Kurelin and his wife Valentina invented a new photographic process that involves directing a high-frequency electrical field at an object. The object's pattern of luminance, the auric field, can then be captured on film. Contemporary practitioners are using Caroline photography to show how the aura responds to different emotional and mental states, and even to diagnose illness and other problems. Medical scientists is now using a heat aura as well as other imaging processes to show the different aspects of the body's electromagnetics. So the electromagnetic field is very important. The fields that we coalesce within and relate to are important. We need to learn and study these things. One of the more compelling set of studies is this area was conducted by Dr. Valeria Hunt. Her research is covered on chapter 38. We're gonna tap into all of these sub chapters later, but we want to get an understanding on the aura and the energetic field, the electromagnetic field that affects us. In a study of structural neuromuscular energy field and emotional approaches, she recorded the frequency of low millivoltage signals emanating from the body during ruffling sessions. She made these recordings using electrodes of silver and silver chloride in the skin. Scientists then analyzed the wave pattern recorded with a Fourier analysis and a sonogram. Frequency analysis, the field did indeed consist of a number of different color bands, which correlated to the chakras. Important. The following results taken from the February 1988 study and showed color frequency correlation in hertz or cycle seconds. So I'm going to show y'all that this is, I think it's backwards, but you can see that and look that up on your own. Get that into your hand because there's a section in the electromagnetic field that has a color resonance. And blue is 250 to 275 hertz plus 1200 hertz. Green is 250 hertz to 475 hertz. Yellow is 500 to 700 hertz. Orange is 950 hertz to 1050 hertz. Red is 1000 hertz to 1200 hertz. Violet is 1000 to 2000 plus 300 to 400, 600 to 800 hertz. White is 1100 to 2000 hertz. While mechanically measuring the subject's healer and aura reader, Reverend Rosalind Breyer, provided her own input, separately recording the various colors she intuitively perceived. In all cases, her renderings were the same as those demonstrated mechanically. Hunt repeated this experiment with other psychics with the same results. So, look at this. This is more aura energy. And it looks like we have 12. Yeah, layers of the auric field. The layers of the auric field as described by Barbara Ann Brennan and according to the 12 chakras. Y'all see that, man? So the 12th aura links with the energy egg, connects human and divine self. The 11th auric layer commandeers force. I see the 9th, but I don't even see the 10th. Where's the 10th one at? Oh, it's way down there. Okay. The 10th auric layer mirrors beliefs, serves as a second self. The 9th connects with others based on soul issues. The 8th broadcasts karma and absorbs power. 7th connects with spirits and spirit, broadcasts spiritual decisions. That's important because 7 is a spiritual number. 6 opens the choices, enacts decisions. 5 attracts, repels, and sends guidance. 4 attracts, repels relationships. 3 filters ideas and beliefs. 2 screens feelings and emotion. And your first auric field, protection of life energies. Then on the opposite end you have, they're just labeling the numbers in. But the spiritual plane has a Kether body, celestial body, and etheric template. The astral plane has a astral body. The physical plane has a mental, emotional, and etheric body. So this is very important. I'm going to post this picture after I finish. I don't know if TikTok's going to like me posting a book. They don't like when you post books. So let me read a little bit more because this is important. So, but what is the auric field? We just went over the names. So we know it exists, but what is the auric field? Scientists, including James Oxman, author of Energy Medicine, considered it a biomagnetic field that surrounds the body. As Dr. Oxman says, it is a fact of physics that energy fields are unbounded. This means that our biomagnetic fields extend indefinitely. Ooh, that made me tired. She's tired, joke. Modern equipment can now measure the heart's field, the strongest of those originating from an organ up to 15 feet away. As for the aura's job, science has determined that this magnetic field conveys information about events taking place inside the body rather than on the skin. Its purpose is therefore vitally linked in our internal health, your spiritual health, is important because when your spiritual taps into itself, it follows suit. The shadow follows suit, if you will. And we're out here a lot of times living in our shadow, and we're not trying to correct our ways. The biomagnetic field is composed of information from which organs and every bodily tissue. The heart's currents determine its shape, as the heart is the body's strongest electrical producer. The primary electrical flow is therefore established by the circulatory system. As well, the nervous system interacts with the circulatory system and creates distinct flow seen as whirling patterns within the field. We cannot fully understand the function of the aura without knowing what it is made of. And still working on that, Barbara Ann Brennan summarizes specific research to suggest that it is made of plasma, tiny, perhaps subatomic particles that move in clouds. Scientists propose that plasma exists in the state between energy and matter. Rudolf Steiner, a brilliant author of philosophers, suggested that the human energy field is made of ether, an element comparable to a negative mass or a hollowed out space. We can only surmise, but perhaps the field is actually made of both electromagnetic radiation, specifically magnetism, and an antimatter that allows a shift of energy between this world and others. Thus, the propensity of healers and deliver healing energy based on intention is a matter of creating enough intensity in the here and now. Intention, set an intention is what that's telling you. Energies to access an equivalency in the anti-world. What we accomplish within our own field can be delivered like an instant message on the internet to another individual's energy field, telepathic energy. So if your aura speaks to other people saying that I'm weak, I am not worth being respected, other people can recognize that and they will not respect you, and they will not have the eye, ear, and the opportunity to give you that look to be seen. Do you follow what I'm saying? So this is why confidence is important. It's not a key of arrogance. It is a key of having your magnetism at its highest potential. So the 12 chakra system and the auric field. I think we'll read that and that might be it. Oh, we got a little bit more. The 7 rays, the symbolic point, cluster, energy line. Yeah, let's read that. Okay, figure 320 illustrates how the auric field relates to the 12 chakras. So that's the one that we was just looking at. We're going to look at that again. And you see how it has 12 different fields of placement around the body. So the 12 chakra system furthers Brennan's ideas about the 8th and 9th chakra as well as higher fields. Auric fields are graduating layers of light that manage the energy outside of the body. Auric fields connect to the chakras, creating a symbiosis between the happenings inside and outside of a person. Excuse me, y'all. The 7 rays are the 7 attributes of God. As a system, the 7 rays explains that our subtle energies act as transformers to convert high vibrational energies into form. The physical body. Every body contains the energies of all the rays, just as every physical body has chakras, but our particular soul and personality rays determine our potentials for strength and weaknesses. That means your aura is weak, your chakra system is weak. That means you need to balance your energy and you need to find a way to calibrate in a better example. The concept of the rays originating in Vedic literature, where they are associated with the 7 rishis, advanced masters who acted as agents of the absolute. Each ray has a different color, symbol, chakra entry, and exit point, occult energy, and symbology specific to its role. Radionic practitioners frequently use the 7 rays to augment their diagnosis and treatment of patients following the spiritual path. So this is very important and very easy to understand that practitioners use energy regulators, light capacitors, to push energy in and out of your body, in and out of your aura. Because if your aura gets stuck with too much energy, that's when you begin to build up a cancer inside the body, and it's all a metaphysical process. So the assemblage point, clustered energy lines. The assemblage point modality describes a cluster of energy lines or strings that penetrate the body at a particular point. While they are not part of the physical body, they immediately surround it. Passing through the chest and out of the back, each string is about 1 centimeter in circumference or less. The strings closest to the body are strongest and most intense. Those farther away diverge and their energetic power diffuses. Practitioners report that the energy point is quite tender and between 1/2 of 1 centimeter in width. Research using infrared digital thermostats, or thermometers, and image scanners shows that this point is about 0.2 degrees centigrade lower than the surrounding skin. There are several theories supporting the existence of the assemblage point. Paraphrased, these center on the understanding that we are composed of an oscillating energy field with an epicenter. The assemblage point, the form of this human energy field, is dependent upon the location of entry angle of this point, and in turn regulates someone's biological and emotional state. However, the position of this point is determined by the biological activity inside the body. By working with this point, we can positively affect the health of our lives. So if you're activating your body from within, the within will move you to think clearer, and your metaphysical frequencies will, basically your etheric field will change, and that will change your 3D field. You follow what I'm saying, y'all? Highly negative situations such as rape or financial ruin can shift the assemblage point into detrimental position, thereby causing physical and emotional upheaval. This is important. Childhood trauma and drama can prevent the assemblage point from even settling in the healthy position. So if you have trauma from a kid, if you have problems as a kid or as a young person, these things are hindering your energy to recreate itself, and you're stuck in someone else's will, which is an infinity loop. Let's read it again. Highly negative situations such as rape or financial ruins can shift the assemblage point into a detrimental position. That's heavy, y'all. Thereby causing physical and emotional upheaval. Childhood trauma and drama can prevent the assemblage point from even settling in a healthy position. It seems the point settles into a specific point at about 7 years of age. Wow, it's important to be who you are by the time you're 7. Take care of your kids, and they will take care of themselves if you've done the right thing in the first 7 years. The various shifted position, too far up or down, to the right or to the left, adversely affects the entire system, especially the brain. Practitioners often use stone crystals or electronic gem therapy to shift and shape the assemblage point. I need to give this to some of my people in my family. People in my family don't believe none of this, and that's why they're going through the things that they're going through. I digress, though. Our exploration of fields has included the measurable and the subtle, as well as the universal. The excursion has incorporated natural and artificially created fields, as well as various human varieties. We've discovered that every living organism, from small to great, emanates as it is affected by fields of energy that in large part create the foundation for life itself and serve as the focus of the next section. Part 4, channels of energy, y'all. That's the end of chapter 27, the human energy field. That was heavy. That's to help us understand that there's an energy field that's around us, and the energy field is what molds our vision on a 3D basis. So if we are leaving others to recreate this etheric field, realm and field for us to walk into, we're going to have a huge problem trying to calibrate the things that we want, need, and like. You follow what I'm saying? Because you're walking into other people's auric fields, and bioelectromagnetic waves are affecting you in a manner that has nothing to do with you. So this is why you don't want to go everywhere. This is why you don't want to be around everyone. This is why you do not want to shake everyone's hand. This is why you do not want people to talk and look at your baby when they're brand new. This is why you don't want them touching your baby, holding your baby, or looking too intently. You know how people like to get all close, like, oh, look at that baby. They're trying to get the etheric aura off of that baby, and the more perverse they act around that child, the more perverse or disaligned their energy is with nature. Because a natural alignment with nature will always correlate respectful acknowledgments. You follow what I'm saying? And the aura is a very important portion of that, and the ability to attach to that aura. Because not only is it the aura, we're looking at other pieces of information that we are going to deal with, like the organs, the body systems, because they all share an aura. And we're going to figure things out like the peace sign. Well, this ain't the peace sign, the yin and the yang sign. And I remember when I was a kid, I was always attracted to that. I used to go into that Pearson Pagoda place as a kid, and while my mom was shopping in some Learners or New York, whatever, I'd be in that shop looking for a peace sign and a yin and yang sign for a bracelet, so I can go back and say, hey, look, can y'all please give me this bracelet? I need it. So I always understood the energetic frequency of yin and yang and peace. But not only that, the symbol that it recreates in your mind. Because our mind is spoken to from the ethers, but also in symbols of physical view. So that physical view will unlock an etheric memory. Do you follow what I'm saying? So for example, you'll go, even the swastika. A lot of us, that's why they want you to dislike the swastika. The swastika is not racist or hateful. But after this programming, we now think and believe that the swastika is evil and the swastika has no righteous energy. But when you look at the symbols of many different cultures, there's thousands of symbols that favor and look very similar to that swastika. And you come to find out that that swastika energy is representative of the bright sun that shines its informational rays in a captivating aura of its own. So the sun itself even has an aura, and this is where the sun rays exist at. The sun rays, they protrude and permeate into your being, the red sun, and now you're integrating information that you previously did not have from years back, but it's always been within you. The only thing you're doing is activating the information from within you so that it can reside within the ethers, because we don't hold information in our brain. It's held in the ethers, and when we want to realize it or remember it, we track it in. We bring it back in to reflect, remember, or to speak on it, however it needs to go. You follow what I'm saying? Let me get some water, y'all. We've been preaching in here. So this is church, y'all. This is Moordreamz Ministry of Mystery. This is our spiritual crow call. And if you're new to this, I really appreciate y'all staying for this long, and I welcome y'all to come back. And we're going to oftentimes be building on things of such this nature. For the next week, maybe even 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to be coming straight out of that book, The Subtle Body. And that subtle body information is going to reflect how to align our solar purpose. And then some other things I want to get into is our astrology charts. So if you guys are struggling with your destiny, struggling with learning what you should be doing and wondering why that job is not fulfilling, then tap in with me. I can give you some intel. I can look at your chart and be like, hey, boom, boom, pow. You may want to look into this area of information. And from there, you take the ball and you run with it. I may not be able to tell you that you're going to get this job. I'm not a psychic at all. I'm a seer, which is a little different. So a seer can see things once we get a bit of information. It's like putting a piece of puzzle together. So if I can see that, X, Y, Z is happening, and I can be like, okay, A, B, and C happened because X, Y, and Z happened. And then I can give it to someone with a reflective energy, and that energy can be understood. You follow me? But that's basically what we're dealing with this week, y'all. The subtle body. I want y'all to share this, and I want y'all to check in on the information that we dropping, because I'm learning just like y'all learning. I'm gonna read this book just like it's gonna be reading Rainbow, and I'm gonna tell y'all, don't take my word for it. Go do your own research, understand your own individuation that's related to these etheric and auric fields, and these fields will help you work in the 4D, will learn and communicate in the 4D and work in the 5D. So this is all we've been talking about for weeks. Y'all tap into my timeline. I've been talking about 3D, 4D, 5D potential, and how we're going to change the 3D by working in the 5D and really knowing how to understand God's speech in that 4D. Dreams, even when you're walking, decoding different codes, spirit animals, all that's fourth dimension. You know what I mean? You might see a butterfly and that just skipped through your fourth dimension access. But if you understand what your fourth dimension access is telling you about that butterfly, you're going to analyze the color. You're going to analyze what it's doing. You're going to analyze how it's showing up to you. And then the way that it shows up to you, it will evolve your knowledge of how to operate for that moment, for that day, or for the future. That's what spirit animals do. Spirit animals also give you warnings. They will show you if something is of danger or if someone is of non-righteousness. And these are some of our lower level animals like raccoons, sometimes foxes, most times foxes, coyotes. Those are trickster energies. You have possums. You have monitoring spirits. Those are roaches and those big ass water bugs. I don't know where you see them in your house. That means someone is trying to monitor your being and see what the hell you got going on. Ants are basically soldier warrior ancestors, and if they end up raiding your house, there may be something in your house that you need saving from. If they end up biting you all over the foot when you put your bare foot in the ground, there may be something that you're not in alignment with in nature, because the ants will crawl all over you. Because when I'm meditating, they do it all the time, and it's annoying. But I notice that they don't bite me unless I'm doing something kind of wrong, and they will just crawl over me and do their thing, but they won't bite. So you got to understand how to deal with the 4D. The 4D is where we at. We're walking this 3D, but this 3D is just some illusionary bullshit, and niggas will try to pull the wool over your face and think that you don't see through the bullshit. So it's very important that you put your 3D glasses on. Put your 3D glasses on and be able to acknowledge your ability to reside with God, because the synchronicities, they calibrate closer the closer you are with God. So doppelgangers and synchronicities will give you the understanding that, hey, you're getting closer to something that is more righteous than you. Because how is these things happening in such synchronicity? And this is when you get tapped into God's will or God's favor. That's what I want to say. That's when you get tapped into God's favor, and you're now walking with the disciples. The 12 disciples were representative of the 12 astrology energies that coalesce your council. And your council needs balance. So you need a few different energies to meditate with and to talk on some things and figure out how you may be able to calibrate the next move and how is it going to happen, with the Voltron that we have, because depending on how you Voltron is going to depend on how you show up. Because if someone's missing, then you have a weak link, you have an aura leak. And when we talk about this too in meditation, if you have an aura leak, your body will have some type of rash or itch or dis-ease, because that aura energy will be leaking through that part of your body. And through that part of your body, you'll be losing energy. And this is why you don't want to be reckless with your sexual energy, and you want to know what you're doing sexually, because if you are not, you are damaging your sacral. Your sacral is where you create. And if you cannot create, that means you have a sacral damage, because we're all connected to God. And regardless if it's creating a house or if it's creating a drawing, it's God's will and it comes from God. So you have the opportunity to create with the sacral chakra. But if you have a damaged sacral chakra, like we was reading in this book, the alignment will not give you your proper resonance and understanding to what's going on around you. So you want to be very clear when it comes to your traumas, shadow work. Sit with yourself, get a journal out, find some peace within yourself, learn who you may be in the current space, and is that current space going to be withstandable? Are you going to want to keep that being, or is that being stressing you out? Or is that being stressed out? Does that being need to release energy? Does that being need to find a new route of ordinance for the energy? So etheric realms are important to change. You know what I mean? You have the ability to tap into the etheric realm whenever you align your aura. So breath work, in through the nose, out through the mouth. It's a real basic concept, but it takes a very disciplined aura to sit still, to breathe in, breathe out on a continuous basis, to charge the energy and make sure the ability is creating a meridian for connection. You know what I mean? So that bridge is a meridian and the connection is safe. You know what I mean? If there's not a safe bridge, then the information might travel, or it might be a telephone game where it's misunderstood. And you don't want to misunderstand God's will, because you'll do something that's not in alignment and you'll think it's of God, and God will be like, hey, look, I appreciate you. She was wasting your time, man. You're gonna have to redo that. There's no way that we can calibrate right there with that. You know what I mean? So that's really what we got today, y'all. Appreciate y'all tapping in, man. I'm gonna go see what we got for today. I gotta go do some matrix life, matrix living. You know what I mean? We gotta have a balance. But now when you're in the matrix and when you have that third eye and your etheric realms are following you everywhere you go, because you are able to create the etheric realm, you are now mastering yourself, and you are now creating your own will of creation, and your ability of existence is very high, and your intensity level and your ability to will things into your life is high, and your creativity level is high, and you're not destitute in the chakra system and your auric realm or fields are not leaking misguided energy. You follow what I'm saying? So peace, love, and all that goodness. Eat the thumbs, y'all. Love, love, love. I'm out.